All right, guys, welcome back to the shack. Tonight, I'm going to be working on a project, and instead of doing a live, which I do a lot of times with projects, I decided to try to condense this down and do this project in a long form video without being too long. So, I apologize, guys, if I leave out some of the minute details for you, but I just want to kind of show you how we go from concept to project, just using the lasers and the CNCs that are in here in the shop. So, as usual, I got myself a text message with a picture that I was asked, hey, can you make something similar to this? And so that's the image that I got sent. And of course, yeah, I can make something similar. I don't tend to make carbon copies of other people's stuff, but I can put my own flavor on it, do my own thing with it, and make it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Is I'm going to show you a little better picture of what the project is intended to look like, and then walk you through the steps that we take to come up with the finished product. And hopefully the finished product will look pretty good when we're done. So stick around, and we'll be right back. All right, guys. So once again, this is what they're wanting, and this is how my orders usually come in. Form of a screenshot stuck to an email saying, "Hey, can you make this?" But with this text. That's what we're going to be doing today. And to save ourselves a little work, I got lucky. I was getting the plywood out, getting ready to cut myself out a round for this door hanger because I have a file that I've made which has the lines and grooves and everything in there. That I like to use for door hangers because it makes it kind of look almost like boards put together, but it's not. It's plywood, and when you paint it, it just looks cool. So I was getting everything out, going to cut me one of those, and I found one hiding under the CNC table in my stack. So saved a little work on that. But I am going to take you outside. I want to show you what we're doing to it, and we're going to be letting it dry while we're in here working on the other parts. All right, guys, so I'm out here outside. That's where I do all of my painting and spraying and stuff, just to keep it from being inside the shack. And I've already put a little paint on this guy. But this is the board that we'll be using to do this wall hanger on here, or the door hanger, whatever you want to call it. And you can see those little lines that are in there. Those were made with a CNC, the same file that I designed to cut these out. Puts those little lines in there. It kind of makes it look like, you know, 4 boards stuck together instead of just a plain old piece of plywood. So we're going to be spraying this periodically, getting the coats on there that we need while we get the rest of the pieces cut and get it ready to put together. So back inside and let's get started. I just wanted to show you guys where we're at on this, but I got lucky and didn't have to cut this today. So always it pays off, because usually with these, the way they come out of the plywood, I cut 2 at a time, because it's just, I cut that section of plywood off, put it on the CNC, and I'll just go ahead and do 2 just to use that up so I don't have that little square left. And so I got lucky. I had an extra one. So let's get back inside. All right, so the next few steps, guys, are going to be on the computer and the laser. So we're going to be indoors for a little while finishing this up. So let's jump over to the computer and get the rest of the pieces for this thing started. All right, guys, so first things first, this is the file as it appears in VCarve for my little door hanger that I built. This is the cut file. You can see the little lines that I put in there to kind of simulate different boards. 2D file, it's nothing too complicated. All right, guys, one more little cheat for you I'm going to share with you. If you're trying to share from VCarve over to Lightburn, Lightburn to VCarve, the cool thing about it is both programs allow you to export as an SVG and import as an SVG. So if you wanted to take this design, let's say we want to bring this into Lightburn and use it as part of our design process to where we know where everything's going to be and just kind of see what it looks like, we can go over here, export SVG, and then you're going to put it in your downloads or wherever you want to download it. Hit save, which I've already done this, so I'm having to redo it. And then once you save it in there, now you can go over to Lightburn and just go to File, Import, because you don't want to close the one you're working on. Click on that design and hit Open. Once you do that, now what I would strongly recommend is taking all of this that you just brought in, and I'm just going to select it real quick. And I'm going to change it over to this red tool line so that nothing burns, and group it. now I'm just going to take and click it and align it with that other line just to show you. Hit the bullseye button. Now everything is lined up if I needed it. Now, the way we're doing this, I really don't need this guy right here, this blue line that we created a while ago, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. But this will allow me now to know when I'm designing the text and everything that goes in here, it's going to allow me to know exactly where those lines are so that I can kind of account for that and get a look and a feel for it as I'm designing the text and everything. We're not going to be cutting this part on the CNC because I've already done it on the, we're not going to be cutting this part on the laser because I've already cut it on the CNC. But like I said, you could cut this on the laser, but you would need to resize it and make it machine workspace appropriate, which this one's a bit big for the X70. So just keep that in mind. So let's get to designing the rest of the file there. All right, guys, just for reference, I'm going to pull in the photo that I was sent of what this thing is supposed to be similar to. And so there's the photo that I was sent. Now the names are going to be a different name. So let me take a gander here at my messages and make sure of what it's supposed to say. So, Big Daddy. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to take this and we're going to replicate this and substitute the text. So I'm going to go ahead and click those and change them over to black. But just putting that in there as kind of notes for the build. So we're going to need for this design also, we're going to need these little rocking chair silhouettes. And you can do this a number of different ways. You can get graphics from here, there, wherever. I use a lot of times my Adobe. And it will search through the, images of rocking chairs. Now, what I'm looking for is I kind of want like a silhouette or a graphic, but, not too much detail. So what I can do is just find one that kind of fits the idea of what's in the design. And then I'm going to take this guy right here, basically remove the background, and we'll see if I can actually use it in Lightburn and just trace it and maybe create my own silhouette. So we'll move over to Lightburn and do that. So I'm going to bring that in to Lightburn, and then I'm going to just trace it. See if I can hit a sketch trace, if that'll get me. No. All right, so we're just going to work with the trace tool here, trying to get it as clear as I can. All right. Looks pretty good. Let's see what happens. So, there we go. Let's see what it looks like in Lightburn. Ooh, didn't mean to twist it. So, yeah. That works pretty well. I've got a few little relics in here of the tracing process that I don't really need. Get rid of that guy. Get rid of that. A few little small, like imperfections. That I can leave. That looks okay. Yeah, so all in all, it's done pretty good. I'm okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and group that back together. And there we go. So I got one of my little rocking chairs done. Of course, this is going to need to be not a engrave, but rather a cut. So we're going to reassign that here in a little bit once I get everything done. But I'm just kind of trying to lay it out right now. So now that I got the rocking chair in here, guys, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to duplicate it. Move it over this way. And because in the image that I've got, you can see that the chairs are basically facing each other. So I'm going to go over here and mirror this one and make it face back that way. So now I got them facing the same direction. And we're going to add some text. So this is going to be welcome to, and going to need to be a lot bigger text, of course. And keep in mind now, I'm not leaving this circle in here. This this circle that I've got drawn is just a frame line, and I'm going to take it out once I get this designed. I'm basically using that as a reference to how big everything needs to be, just to kind of help keep me correct on my sizing and spacing and all that. So that is going to go away. All right, so that's more of a thin cursive. I don't want nothing too thin, because the thinner the cursive language text font is, it's a little hard to keep up with. So trying to find something that's similar but a little thicker if I can. So we're gonna just keep looking. That's not quite it. Da, 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 da. Give me a moment, guys. Let me search through these endless supply of fonts. That's very similar. It's gonna be awful thin though, guys. So, but you know what? I think so. I think we'll do it. We'll go with that. So, all right. So we're gonna do that script, Segoi script. So we'll do that one. I'm gonna need an and sign down here in the bottom, and the word house down here. I guess I can not capitalize that. That would work. So that'll go there. The way this one's laid out, this text here doesn't need to be above that line, so it'll be about somewhere in that area. The and, of course, it could be a little bigger. Put it here. And then we're going to need some shapes to go there. And this is showing these are like on another layer and kind of tied into the chairs. So I guess we can do that and just make the labels and put them on here after the fact, and that'll put this as being, you know, the base layer with the text, the chairs, and then one more layer with the name tags on it. So I think that's the way we're going to end up running this thing. All right, so I swapped it over to the new Atomstack Hurricane. I've got it powered up, and I'm going to use it to get all this put together. I'm going to go ahead and copy this full design over here into the white space, just to get it out of the way. I've got to change these names here. Those need to be the same font according to the drawing, or, well, no, I guess it's the same. It looks the same, though. It's just lowercase. So what we're going to have to do here is change the Sassy and Big Daddy. We're going to need to change those over to that font that we were using, the Segoi, which should be up top. Yes, there it is. So I'm just going to click those, and it's going to be the very top one right there. I'll get those selected. Now, the way they've got this set up on that one is this kind of an oval. So I'm going to create myself a bit of an oval here. Probably just go ahead and set that to a cut. Get it to where it's similar in size to the way that one's laid out. So I figure maybe about right there. Just needs to glue like right there. So we'll have that little cutout also. But I'm going to put the names. It's going to be kind of small, but this is the way I was told to lay it out, guys. Big Daddy is going to be a little bit small for that. I don't know how well it's going to look. But, like I said, as requested, customers are always right. So we can see about maybe making it a little bigger. There we go. But it's going to bother me if these are different sizes, so I'm going to change this one to 15 as well. And we'll put that in the center. So those are going to be our little cutouts for our name pieces. So go ahead and get those moved over into the work area. Let me update my overlay. I've got a piece of material over there in the machine. So I'm going to try to just lay everything out and get it like it needs to be for cutting. Let me move that laser head out of the way. Like I said, this is the new Atomstack Hurricane. It's a 55 watt CO2. If you haven't seen the videos that I did, or well, I haven't released the video that I did yet. Waiting on some feedback. But there we go. Got those two in there. I'm gonna go ahead and delete the. Well, I'm gonna leave it in there for now. I'm going to copy the two chairs there. Put those guys over here. Now the trick to this is I only need cutouts of these. I'm going to paint them. So I'm going to put those up here. And of course we're going to change that over to just a cut. That's all I need is those. I need those cut out. And duplicate that as well. I'm trying to just lay everything. Wrong one. I'm just going to try to set it up there. Change that to a cut. Like I said, all of this stuff is going to be cut out and glued to the piece that I've already got, that I've painted. So we're going to need welcome to. Let's see, now I'm going to have to move some stuff down. Let me go move my material because I've got to get used to that machine's placement. I feel like I ought to be able to get all this on this sheet. Yes, much better, much better. All right, so we're going to slide this down, get everything lined up. See, yeah. So this is why I like cameras, and especially for jobs like this where I'm cutting out a bunch of stuff. Because as you can see, I've got all of that stuff nice and organized in the work area. I got all my cuts. I'm going to just leave those guys over there. I'm going to go back over here to the cuts and layers, and just going to make sure, because I don't want it even trying to output the image there. And these should not be taken into consideration because they're way outside the work area. So I'm just going to, I've already homed the machine one time, so we're just going to frame the machine out and see how it does. And one reason that I'm framing is because with this machine, I do have to set the focus. So even with the camera and me knowing that I'm pretty well on the material that I've got in there, it still helps me line everything up to frame. And then once you get it framed, you just hit the focus button here. That's going to send the head down to the material. It's going to touch off and set the focus of the machine. And then once it does that, it's ready to send. So let me close the door. And let me send the job, guys, and we'll get this done. So, all right, guys, the pieces got cut out, and we're going to be removing them from the machine and going outside for a little paint action. All right, it's a little hard to see, guys, but I've got the parts over here sprayed with some black Rust-Oleum 2X, and we're going to be waiting on that to dry and get everything put together. So we'll go back inside and look at the other parts that we've got a few little more cleanup to do in there. All right, so I've got the actual back itself is in here. I kind of got it set up on the corners, letting it finish drying. It's mostly dry, but it's still a little tacky. The pieces that we engraved with the names on it, I'm gonna go ahead. This is some of my pre-finished ply that I've been using here lately. And I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and wipe it down. The one cool thing about this plywood is because it's pre-finished, when you engrave it, it literally, the soot just wipes off of it. So it's pretty awesome. So just like with this one here, you can see it's got a little on it. We're gonna hit that with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and wipe it down. And you'll see that it comes clean. So there we are. So that's one thing about this plywood that I am kind of digging is it's easy to clean up after engraving. So I got those two parts done, and you can see the rest of the cut for the rocking chairs and everything. And look how clean of a cut we got. So that's pretty good. It didn't take a whole lot to get it cleaned up and ready for painting outside. So we're just waiting on paint to dry now, literally, guys. All right, guys, so if you didn't catch it, there was one piece that I forgot to cut that first go around. So I had to kind of skip in the middle there and put the last text down on the bottom there toward the end after I'd got everything else put together. And I also, just so you don't think differently of me, I had to call Brandy in for the bow, guys. So I'm not real good with those. So Brandy helped me out with that. But this is what we came up with. So I think I nailed it with the picture that I was given to go by. So all this little fluffy stuff, somebody else is going to have to make sure all that is trained appropriately and done what it's supposed to do. That's not my thing. But as far as the laser cut parts, the painting, all that stuff, other than a few little small cat hairs here and there that have gotten stuck on it, I think it looks pretty awesome. The one thing that I will show you is in order to hold this reef piece or whatever right here, what I wound up doing is I drilled a couple of holes up here at the top, and what that does is using a drill bit, just pop a couple of holes there, and you can use a zip tie to hold all the bow and the vegetation and everything in place up there. And that way too, you can come in from the back, snip that zip tie if you want to, and that makes these things versatile so you can change it from season to season. I mean, you can use the little flourish wire if you choose, but zip ties work great, and so that's what I wind up using. But the only thing that's missing from this to be able to go ahead and throw this on the door is to determine how exactly they're going to hang it on the door. Are they going to use one of those little hooks, the metal hangers or whatnot? You can either do that by attaching a piece of ribbon to it with a staple gun to the back, attaching something through using another zip tie through the holes, attaching it to one of those little metal hooks that goes over the door. However, but this is a friend of Brandy's, is who this is being made for, so we'll let her let us know on that, and we may touch it up. But all in all, guys, easy project, simple. Everything's made out of wood, some spray paint, and you're good to go. Like I said, with this design, you can do this with a laser. Like you can even make these little grooves and these indentions with a laser. The only catch is the overall dimensions of your door hanger is going to have to be smaller than the work area of your machine. So if your machine's only got a 16 by 16, you're going to be limited to just under that to be able to make this and make it completely on your laser. But I just want to share this video with you guys because it is fall. Christmas is right around the corner. Fall is one of those, or it's fixing to be fall. Let's put it that way. Fall is one of those times when the wives and the ladies start swapping out their decor. And so, you can come up with these. White seems to be gaining some popularity for the area that I live. Find out what the colors and the setups are in your area that's getting popular, and make you some blanks. And guys, these are easy to get out there. Throw a couple of them out there on Facebook, and I'm sure you'll get even more orders because it's fully customizable. All I did was use plywood, some glue, and some paint, and wow, we got it made. So a simple project, easy, and pretty awesome, if I must say so myself. So if you don't have a CNC, like I said, you can find ways, Hobby Lobby, places like that, sell the cutouts, the rounds already cut, or reach out to somebody in your area that does have a CNC and just outsource the rounds, and then you can use your laser to make the remainder of the parts. So it may even be able to swap out some laser cut for some from CNC work from some of your neighbors. So I hope this idea is something that maybe you can have fun with or make a little money with. But in the meantime, guys, if you want to check out the Hurricane, I will be dropping links down below. So far, I've never really been a big CO2 machine kind of guy, but so far this machine is kind of flowing with what I'm used to, with it being light burn compatible. It runs and feels just like a diode, but I got the capabilities of a CO2, which is pretty cool because in the past, the CO2s I've had didn't quite flow with light burn the way that this machine does. So far so good, guys, but stay tuned. If you hadn't already, hit that button down below. And until next time, be safe and have a good day.